There's the chicken coop. Kind of looks like hell. Have to put a ceiling or a roof on. Yeah, it's rough. Still have a ways to go. But once I whitewash it, it'll look 10% better. So whitewash is pretty tricky. You got to make sure you have the measurements exact. I know there's several different recipes, but I use a pretty simple recipe. And yeah, you'll see. What I like to use is hydrated lime. That's really what you need. They make agricultural lime and the different kinds of lime. But hydrated lime is what you want. It's also not too expensive. It was something like 12 bucks for this bag. You're going to need a bucket and some way to measure it. So first things first. What I do, I got my bucket and my paintbrush. First thing I do is I measure it out. And I'm going to use an exact measurement of, however the heck much I want. It's going to be pretty thick. I think it'll be good. And then just the right amount of water. That'll do nicely. Now, they say this stuff is pretty toxic. Can give you some burns. So, be careful when you mix it. Don't get too much on you. Wash it off real quick. I like to mix it up real good. Sometimes I'll let it set a few minutes, make sure everything dissolves. Since it's just pretty powdery, this works out great. I do like to use a fat, sloppy paintbrush. I'm not making this look pretty, as you can tell by the start of the chicken coop. Chickens don't care how it looks. This will help the wood last a little longer, and it will bring it together a little better than it is now. So, I've got my bucket. I've got my chicken coop. I think the Brits would call it a bespoke chicken coop. I'm okay with that. Got my brush. Let's get started. I'm starting on the outside, just so it's easier to see. Just slather it on, up and down. Now, if you're worried about getting whitewash on your clothes, I haven't really had an issue with it not washing off. I've gotten it on a felt hat, one of my favorite hats. And I was worried about it for a minute, but after a good week or two of wearing it, you can't even tell. So that does speak to the durability of whitewash. It's not very durable. But that's not really the full point of it. As you can see going on, it doesn't really do a whole lot at first. This has a lot of sap on this one, so it's not going to soak in too well. But as it dries, it kind of turns into something along those lines. The gate for the chicken run. So we'll see how it goes. We'll come back after a minute. Alright, this is halfway dry, give or take. You can see it starts to change white as it dries. Also, areas of metal. Just paint right over them. Whitewash it. It doesn't hurt anything. And I've heard that it can prevent rust. So about an hour has gone by, and you can see the difference. It's not 100% dry yet. As you can see down here, where it's soaked up real good. Few spots, and it might not stay fully white just because I'm using pellet wood and old barn wood. But I do think it looks a million times better already. And once the door and the roof is on, I think it'll be nice. So, I think whitewashing is definitely a win. It's super easy. Makes sense to do. So try it out. So why use whitewash? I know I use it because it's inexpensive and it works for my purposes. I said the chickens don't care what the chicken coop looks like, and I believe that's true. I care a little bit what the chicken coop looks like. But aside from that, it's antibacterial. So painting the inside of your chicken coop can prevent bad smells, things like that. Keep your chickens a little bit healthier. It also adds to protection of the wood. It doesn't protect the wood as much as paint, a good coat of paint, but again, it's a lot cheaper and it's less toxic. Why would you not want to use whitewash? Well, it doesn't last very long. You have to reapply it at least every spring. And if you use it inside the house or any place where you're going to be touching it a lot, it rubs off. It'll flake off, it'll leave chalky marks on your clothing. So if you're worried about that, don't whitewash things that you're going to be touching. It's worked out great for me. Even the White House was whitewashed for a very long time. They used a specific recipe with salt and a bunch of other different things, aside from hydrated lime and water. Hydrated lime and water has always worked for me, so that's what I use. There are places online that you can get different recipes to make it slightly more waterproof, slightly longer lasting, less chalky. So what else can you whitewash? You can whitewash the door to your chicken run. You can whitewash an old hammer. You can whitewash the rabbit hutch. Take the rabbits out first. You can whitewash your girlfriend.
And then that.
You can whitewash lines in the grass for marking out things. Not fully dry, so it's not fully white, but it does work. You can whitewash fruit trees. Yeah, that's an oak tree. I don't have fruit trees planted just yet. But it is beneficial to whitewash your fruit trees. It prevents sun damage, some other things. Again, look it up.